When Julianna Sterling walked into the courtroom, she thought her father's power and a single phone call would be enough to make her problems disappear. She believed her status made her untouchable and her connections made her immune to the law. But as she stood before the legendary Judge Frank Caprio, Julianna Sterling was about to learn a lesson that no amount of money could prevent. She came in looking for an exit, but she was about to face a reckoning that would make history. Before we get into this incredible confrontation, we want to know who is joining us in the gallery today. We have viewers from all over the world who stand for justice. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. We love seeing how far these stories travel. Now let's look at how this high-stakes standoff began. Julianna Sterling was not your average defendant. As the daughter of a prominent sitting governor, her life had been defined by silver spoons and closed-door favors. To Julianna, consequences were things that happened to other people. The incident began on a Tuesday afternoon in a quiet school zone. Julianna was clocked doing 55 miles per hour in a 20-mile-per-hour zone, while reportedly distracted by her phone. When the officer pulled her over, she didn't offer a license. She offered a warning. She told the officer, "Do you have any idea whose car this is? My father is the governor. If you write this ticket, you'll be directing traffic in the middle of nowhere by tomorrow morning." The officer did his job regardless. He issued the citation, but Julianna didn't stop there. She didn't just ignore the ticket, she attempted to have it scrubbed from the system through her father's administrative assistants. When those efforts were blocked by a clerk who refused to be intimidated, the case was fast-tracked to the one man who couldn't be bought, bullied, or biased, Judge Frank Caprio. As Julianna entered the courtroom, she wasn't dressed for a hearing. She was dressed for a gala, flanked by two high-priced attorneys. She didn't realize that in this room, the only title that mattered was defendant. The bailiff called the case. Julianna stepped forward, her heels clicking loudly on the hardwood floor, a sharp contrast to the respectful silence of the gallery. Judge Caprio looked up and said, "Good morning. You are Julianna Sterling. You're here for a high-speed violation in a school zone, aggravated by a failure to appear. How do you plead?" Julianna scoffed and said, "I plead that this is a waste of your time, Your Honor. My father's office already sent over the paperwork to have this dismissed. I'm not sure why I'm even standing here." The room went cold. Judge Caprio slowly peered over his glasses. He told her, "Miss Sterling, I have no such paperwork. What I have is a police report stating you were traveling at a speed that could have ended a child's life. And I have a note from the clerk's office regarding some irregular phone calls made on your behalf." Julianna snapped back. "Those weren't irregular. Those were reminders of who we are. Look, Judge, let's be real. My father handles your budget. One phone call from him, and this entire courthouse gets a restructuring. Why don't we just settle this now?" This was the moment everyone had been waiting for. Would the judge succumb to the political pressure? Judge Caprio asked firmly, "Are you threatening this court, Miss Sterling?" Julianna replied, "I'm offering you a way to keep your job. Now, if you'll excuse me." She actually turned to walk away, but the judge's voice rang out, stopping her in her tracks. "Sit down, Miss Sterling, right now." For the next several minutes, Caprio began to deconstruct the Sterling shield. He played the officer's body cam footage. On the screen, the court saw Julianna screaming at the officer, calling him trash. As the video played, Julianna's lawyers tried to whisper to her, to calm her down, but she pushed them away. She was used to winning. She pulled out her phone, a direct violation of court rules, and began typing. Judge Caprio warned her to put the phone away, but she held it up defiantly. "I'm calling him. Right now. You want to play tough? Talk to the governor." She held the phone up, the call connecting. The gallery held its breath. This was a moment of unprecedented disrespect, but what happened next would change everything. The judge didn't flinch. He let her make the call. She handed the phone toward the bench, and surprisingly, Caprio took it. He spoke into the phone. "Governor, this is Frank Caprio." "Yes, I see." "Well, Governor, I'm glad we're speaking because you need to hear what's about to happen to your daughter." The judge placed the phone on the desk, turning on the speakerphone so the entire court could hear. The governor's voice came through. "Frank, look, she's young. Just send the fine to my office and we'll handle it quietly. There's no need for a spectacle." Judge Caprio replied, "Governor, your daughter didn't just break the speed limit. She tried to break the system. She threatened an officer of the law. She threatened this court. And most importantly, she showed a complete lack of soul for the children she put at risk." Julianna smirked, telling her father to just drop it. But the judge was finished playing games. He looked her in the eye and said, "Governor, your daughter is not leaving through the front door today. By the power vested in me, I am finding you in contempt of court. I am imposing the maximum fine, and I am sentencing you to 48 hours in the county lockup, effective immediately." Julianna screamed, "You can't do that! Dad!" The governor tried to protest over the speaker, but Judge Caprio simply said, "The conversation is over, Governor. In this courtroom, the law is the only sovereign. Bailiff, take her into custody." The sound of the handcuffs clicking into place was the most dramatic sound Julianna Sterling had ever heard. As she was led away, her designer bag left behind on the table, the judge reached over and pressed end on the governor's call. The aftermath of the Sterling case sent shockwaves through the state. The governor's office tried to issue a statement calling the sentence theatrical, but the public sentiment was overwhelmingly in favor of Judge Caprio. The footage went viral, serving as a stark reminder that justice should never be a commodity. Julianna spent 2 days in a standard holding cell. No special meals, no silk pillows, and no phone. When she was released, she was a different person, or at least a much quieter one. Judge Caprio later addressed the media stating, "We live in a society that often tells the powerful they are above the rules. But the moment we allow that to be true in a court of law, we lose the foundation of our democracy." Julianna eventually paid her fine and completed 100 hours of community service, ironically acting as a crossing guard at the very school zone where she was caught speeding. Justice was served not through power, but through the courage of a judge who refused to blink. If you believe that no one should be above the law, hit the like button and subscribe for more stories of justice served. But tell us, did the judge go too far, or was 48 hours in jail exactly what she needed? We'll see you in the next one.